2, 1.
7 things you probably didn't know you need to know. I'm Jamie East, and this is the Smart 7.
Good morning, everybody. It's Friday the 26th of November, and it's Black Friday, or Buy Nothing Day, depending on your bank. And a big happy birthday to Tina Turner, Hilary Benn, Jessica Bowman and Natasha Bedingfield.
7.
French authorities have confirmed that 27 people died when their boat sank in the English Channel, close to Calais on Wednesday. The death toll included children and a pregnant woman. Home Secretary Priti Patel says the UK is working with its international partners, including France, to try and halt the crossings.
And I've always been extremely clear that I want to cooperate. The United Kingdom has given its unflinching and generous support to France to end this terrible trade in people smuggling. Yes, people should come here legally, but the main issue is this. Crossing the channel in small boats is extremely dangerous. And yesterday was the moment that many of us had feared for many years.
She met with her French counterpart on Thursday, while Prime Minister Boris Johnson wrote to French President Emmanuel Macron to request that France agree to take back any migrants who successfully crossed the channel. In the Commons, Priti Patel said it's going to need a strong union of European countries to help end the people smuggling rackets.
This is about addressing long-term pull factors, smashing the criminal gangs that treat human beings as cargo. This requires a coordinated international effort. And I've been in constant contact with my counterparts from France, Poland, Austria, Belgium, to name just a few.
Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer was unimpressed by Priti's posturing.
To be honest, I'm sick of the Home Secretary playing to the sort of headlines on this with grand statements about what she's going to do, turning boats back and all the rest of it, but actually not achieving anything.
On the French side of the channel, President Emmanuel Macron was also hoping for better cooperation to cut down on the number of high-risk journeys across one of the world's busiest shipping channels.
We want to better integrate also the British to prevent these flows, but we really must ensure a stronger European cooperation. I've always said so.
Jean-Marc Puiseau, the head of the port of Calais and Boulogne, told BBC Breakfast that Wednesday's tragedy was inevitable.
We thought it will happen one day, because these people, they are taking so enormous risk to get to your country. When they leave their country, it's because they are suffering there, and they have only one idea and wish to get to your country.
There were 47,240 new cases of COVID-19 yesterday and 147 additional deaths. Thursday saw the UK pass 10 million cases of COVID-19, but there's no good news on the horizon as a new variant's been discovered emerging from Botswana. Its official label is variant B11529, and it's a variant of concern because it has an extremely high number of variations. It's also been identified in South Africa and a single case in Hong Kong. Health Secretary Sajid Javid immediately reintroduced the red list for travel, with 6 African countries flagged, including South Africa and Botswana. The World Health Organisation's Dr. Maria Van Kerkhove, the COVID-19 technical lead, shared what experts know.
What we do know is that this variant has a large number of mutations. So right now, researchers are getting together to understand where these mutations are in the spike protein and the furin cleavage site, and what that potentially may mean for our diagnostics, our therapeutics, and our vaccines.
Thursday marked the International Day for Elimination of Violence Against Women, but one Tory MP, Nick Fletcher, was more concerned about role models for men. He made this peculiar point during a Westminster Hall debate and was then suitably appalled that people misunderstood his nuanced point about the need to celebrate masculinity.
One only needs to look at the discussion surrounding who will play the next James Bond. And it's not just James Bond. In recent years, we have seen Doctor Who, Ghostbusters, Luke Skywalker, The Equalizer, all replaced by women. And men are left with the Crays and Tommy Shelby. Is there any wonder we are seeing so many young men committing crime?
Yeah, it's such a shame that once a female plays a role that all copies of the male actor playing that role are immediately destroyed. I wonder who's going to play Nick Fletcher next.
Still to come on the Smart 7, Spurs have had a bad night in Europe, and Aisling B tells tales on Santa. Right after this.
You're listening to the Smart 7. If you're enjoying it, you might also like the Smart 7 Ireland edition. Just search and follow us on your favourite podcast platform.
3,
The Europa League and the Europa Conference League, if you're a Spurs fan, were back in action on Thursday night. Things didn't go terribly well for Antonio Conte's Tottenham, who managed to lose to the lowest ranked team in the competition, Slovenian side Maribor. That leaves them with a mountain to climb to make it to the next round. There were wins for Rangers, Leicester and West Ham, while Celtic lost to Bayer Leverkusen and now drop into the Europa Conference. Meanwhile, Man United closed in on a temporary manager in the shape of the highly regarded Ralf Rangnick, who's currently Lokomotiv Moscow's head of sports and development. They also had an extremely odd offer, or maybe it's an actual announcement, from former player Eric Cantona.
Hello my friends, I would like to tell you in exclusivity that I am the new manager of Manchester United. I will tell you later the name of my great staff. See you soon.
If you're a Beatles fan, this could be the best weekend of your life. Lord of the Rings director Peter Jackson was let loose in the Beatles archive with 50 hours of footage of the making of the 1970 Beatles album Let It Be. He's created an 8-hour, 3-part documentary that drops over 3 nights this weekend on Disney+. He popped up on BBC Breakfast and says his documentary paints a much more cheerful version of the band.
You know, when I talked to Ringo or Paul about their memories of January 1969, and I think what you're remembering is the Let It Be, where you were very unhappy in May 1970. You just were breaking up. There was arguments. There was lawyers. You're not remembering that this was actually perfectly happy. They weren't a band that was intending to break up when this was being shot, and that's what you see on the screen.
Irish comedian, actor and writer Aisling Bea is on a bit of a roll. She won a BAFTA in 2020 for her series This Way Up, which she wrote and starred in. She's also in the new Home Alone reboot and will star in one of the Christmas Doctor Who specials. She popped up on The Late Late Show with James Corden and told us about one of her jobs before she became successful. It was a particularly traumatising experience as one of Santa's little elves.
There was like 12 Santas, but they thought there was only one Santa. And they were all behind a door, and the good kids would pick the right door, and if they were a good kid, there'd be a Santa Claus behind it, but like there was a Santa behind everyone.
Right.
And one day, one of the local lads fell through the roof.
Oh, wow.
And the fire alarms went off. Everyone had arrived there by a secret shuttle. All 12 Santas had to make their way out into the car park.
Oh, no.
Kids. And they were like, oh, terrible business, you know, while having their cigarette breaks.
This has been The Smart 7. Wherever you're listening, do us a favour and hit the follow button. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Have a great day. Written, produced and published by Daft Dog.